Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the transatlantic Sf Op27. This is an arch vista wall style offset pivot in the aluminum finish. I have all the component pieces here in the box. We're going to go over them one at a time, going from let's go from the ground up, from the floor up. Now, so this is for arch and vista wall style doors. It's possible that your door will have a name on it and will say vista wall, and that's a great way to start. We're going to give dimensions of all these items so that you can accurately determine as we go up the door. We're going to give dimensions of all these items so that you can accurately determine if this is the pivot set that you need. So the OP27 is going to be representative of this portion. The AL is obviously aluminum finish and is in stock in the dark bronze as well, the DU finish. This is a 3/4 inch offset pivot, and that means that the face of the door to the vertical axis of pivoting is 3/4 inch. Okay, this is all aluminum. This allows an 1/8 of an inch door adjustment in the vertical height by turning the bottom spindle, loosening it, and then setting the set screw that's here. Okay. Now, there is, before we get into the dimensions of all the pieces here, there is a link below this video to a document called Instructions. It's really just a cut sheet of all the associated items that go along with these pivots, and these pivots are tucked down about the middle or halfway through that document. And indeed, the OP-27 is there, along with all of the other pivots that might be something that you need. Now, let's go over the dimensions. Width of the plate, about 1 5/8 inches. Let's go with an overall, just 3 inch, is what it is. About 11/16 height of the floor portion. Now, working our way up, we're going to have the bottom door portion. And the bottom door portion is dimensionally identical to the top door portion. Dimensionally identical. There's the spindle. It sits there like this. That's your installation. Now, dimensionally, you know what? Let's study where these screw holes are as well. You can gauge there from the tape measure. You're about 3/8 to the first hole and about 1 1/8 to the second hole. Okay. Now the door portion. The width about 1 3/8 inches. The height about 1 3/4 inches. Overall projection or thickness of the item, about 1 1/2 inches. Those screw holes from the top of the piece down, about 3/8, maybe 5/16 would be better, and then 1 1/8 inches on the center line. Screws are included, actually for everywhere. You're also going to get a couple of plastic anchors and screws for the bottom, for the floor portion. So these screws, along with the top of the door portion, the only difference is that this is spring-loaded for installation, forgive me, I flaked out a moment. The way that these are installed is that the screws, the hex head screws that are here, will come through the hollow tube of the aluminum door and thread from the inside of it. That's how those get attached. Now, moving up the door to the frame portion.
Where am I going to 3?
Okay, so our top portion will look like this. The frame obviously is slotted in the face for you to be able to get this portion into the header. And then, of course, your flathead bolts, they're included in this package. It will come from the underside of the header in the rabbet of the frame into those 3 tapped holes is where that's going to go. Now, overall of this OP27 on the top portion, about a 2 1/8 overall projection, overall length of the piece, projection from the back side, about 1 1/8 inches, overall height at its highest point, or its thickest point, about 7/8 of an inch. Let's study where those screw holes are from the projection of the item, from the face of it, I should say. About 1.5 inches to the first hole, and then about 1 15/16, 1 7/8. Going to be right there, okay, on that next hole. So the reason that we're giving all of this information is because there's no technical drawing provided by Transatlantic for this material. And since there are so many, and quite frankly, many of them look very much similar, the way to identify it is to simply measure what you have against your material. It's very common that people will have to buy this material. They are relatively inexpensive pieces of hardware, and they do fatigue with time, is the bottom line. And these are relatively inexpensive sorts of pivots, and the fact of the matter is it's not unusual to have to replace them because they get worn, is the bottom line. The logic that I like to consider about a very inexpensive pivot hardware is that it takes a lot of use and abuse, and it quite frankly is something that will fatigue. This is an inexpensive piece of hardware, and while there are pivots that are orders of magnitude more expensive and rightfully much heavier duty in terms of its rating, in terms of how many cycles it can be used before failure can be expected. These pivots are just very standard duty material. But pivots like the OP27 are what the aluminum storefront world uses. I would imagine it's not their long-term concern whether or not this pivot lasts 5 years or 15 years. But the truth of the matter is it's fairly common to have to replace this material. Transatlantic is a name synonymous with very good quality imported builders hardware. And my family's been selling Transatlantic, or Taco, Transatlantic Company as we know them, for decades, as a matter of fact. They have a very good combination of hinge, door closer, lock set, and exit device, along with many other items, and there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up their full line comprehensive catalog. But there's very good value in their product, and here in Chicago a lot of people, contractors I should say, have come to rely on the high quality performance and very reasonable cost of the material. Contractors here ask for it by name, and it's because it's very dependable quality for the amount of money charged. If you have any questions on the Transatlantic SF-OP27-AL for aluminum, for the arch or vista wall style aluminum doors, or any other Transatlantic product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.